Getting ready for takeoff. Cessna 152. Okay, turn the battery on. Full mixed, full rich. Give it a little bit of throttle. And we'll crank the key. Turn like a kick. Alright, let's put the generator, the alternator on right there. Make sure the this wheel is set for taking off, centered. Now turn on our beacon, navigation lights, strobe. Sounds like thunder. Alright, to do a check to make sure the magnetos are working. Gonna give it power, get it up to about 170, 1700 RPMs. And we'll move over here so you can see a little straighter, but it don't drop much. Okay, now I'm going to turn the ignition switch. It's only the left magneto's on, and you should see that RPM gauge here drop just a little bit. Did it go down? Okay, I'm switching it back onto both magnetos. And then we'll switch it to where just the right magneto is on. So keep an eye on it again. And it drops down. So that tells us that both our magnetos are working. Now to look at our another thing we look at is the carburetor heat. When we pull this out, it's gonna drop more. So you keep an eye on the RPM gauge. Wasn't looking straight on to it, but it did drop. Going back up now. That one's usually a little more noticeable. I probably could raise it up a little bit. RPMs. Alright, then we want to check the electrical system. Turn off the alternator. Let's see. Yeah, I got to do it here on my controller. Okay. That's the alternator. So that's good. Then I get back over in my seat. Here's our fuel, oil temperature, oil pressure. It's our horizon, climb, and bank. It's our turn indicator. When you turn, you want to keep that ball in the middle and use your rudder to make that happen. So when you take a lessons, they may say step on the ball. That's what they mean. Give it some rudder. This is our airspeed. This plane we want to get up to about 60, 65 knots. This is our rate of descent, our climb, and these are in 100 feet times 100. So this would be 500 feet per minute, 1,000 feet per minute, going up, going down, 500,000. This is for navigation. These are your VORs. You have a communication radio and the navigation radio. And the VORs are very high frequency, omnidirectional. They're placed out there in various places. And when you set up your course, you have to plan those. Depending on your altitude, they can be only about 40 nautical miles away, and you won't pick them up. And you basically go from one to another to fly that way. Planes now have GPS too, so it makes it a lot easier. This one doesn't. This has the 2 comm radios and 2 navigation radios. This is our transponder. And when we ask for flight following, this is where the aircraft tower controllers, they'll give us a squawk code. Like if they say squawk 2400, then we would change this to 2400. These are our markers. They have a inner marker, middle marker, outer marker, and it's when you're coming in to land. The outer markers, I think about 3.5, 7 miles. The middle marker, I want to say about 1.5 miles, something like that. And then the other marker is right there pretty much when you're hitting the runway. Stall speed on a plane, the different ones have different stall speeds, but in general 15 to 20 degrees is a stall. That's when your angle of attack on your wing is your wings pointed too much up in the front, and you lose lift. So when you put in your VOR, this needle will move, and then you rotate this to get it to center, and then you fly that direction. And you have to adjust it once in a while. This is your compass, and there's another compass that's up, which is the main. This is the Bible up here. This magnetic compass, because this one can be off sometimes, and you have to make it match this one. So that one you definitely want to rely on. And they have this so you can have multiple communication frequencies on, dialed in, pre-programmed, so you can switch, flip-flop them that way. And the same way with the navigation. You can have one VOR programmed in, and then when you get to the point like halfway to it or within range of the other one, you can change it. And you've got another set down here. This is for an older style. It's called ADF. And it's automatic direction finder. And it's the same way. It has a frequency you tune into, and this arrow will move around, and you want to fly towards the direction of that signal. So this plane doesn't have GPS. I told you that already. All right. And we'll get it over in our seat here. Set brake here. We got a primer if we needed to kind of prime it before we tried to start it. Got dome light at night if you need it. That heat that's inside the exhaust. And you got navigational lights, strobe lights, your beacon, taxi lights, and landing lights. This is a trim wheel, elevator trim. So you don't have to sit there and hold the stick back to stay level. You can dial it in, the elevator, the trim wheel, to keep the plane flying at a level flight. Now, more sophisticated planes, they'll have a lot of times they'll have aileron trims, which your ailerons are out there on the wing. And then they'll also have rudder trim, where our rudders are down there on the ground. That's what controls your rudder in the back. I got rudder pedals here on the floor. And then they also have toe brakes, and they're independent of each other. So if I press on the top part, see the brake's on right now, but if I push on the top part, that's the brake, of the right wheel and then the brake of the left wheel. And on the ground you steer the plane with the rudder. Controls the nose wheel and the rudder. I think we moved, did we? A little bit. When I took the brake off. Okay. We'll get lined back up here. Alright, and so on the outside of the plane, idle it down here. Here's your elevator. I'm pulling back on the yoke, pushing forward, makes it go up, makes it go down. The rudder pedals, push it to go right, push it to go left, and I can kind of do a little or more. And the ailerons, when it makes you bank, that aileron on the right going up, it's going to force the swing down, and then the aileron up, going down over here is going to force it up, so the plane's going to bank to the right, and then vice versa. And then in the middle here, we got our flaps, and usually for takeoff you go 10-degree flaps, so that'll go down there. And then for landing, these will be the approach flaps too, and then for as you're getting close to landing, if you want to use full flaps, you can bring them down 20%. This is 10% here. Okay. This plane's got tricycle gear. It's not a tail dragger. So you got a nose wheel and 2 gear here. Your main gear. Now they make tail draggers where the plane is kind of going uphill, and it has a tail wheel back here that's controlled by the rudder also, and then the plane will be tilted down, angled up. It's hard to see up over the top. It's also it's hard to fly. Tail draggers are they're unique because the center of gravity on a plane is all this is science or math and science, but the center of gravity, I would say the center of gravity on this plane is about it's probably about here on that main spar, be your center of gravity. And that pretty much means with an empty tank, if you stuck a pencil or something to support this plane off the ground on the wing both sides, it would pretty much be sitting like it's sitting balanced. It wouldn't be tilting down or tilting back. And that's with an empty tank. At least on the models, that's how we do it. I'm sure these are similar. The tanks are in the wings on these. You got 2 tanks, you got a left and right, and they're in the wings. But the center of gravity, it's forward to the wheels, and so it's more stable on the ground. Once you land one of these, you get on the ground, the job's pretty much over. You know, you just let it roll out. But A tail dragger, the wheels are forward more and the CG is behind the wheels, and that makes for an interesting scenario. And it's the way they design them. The plane slants, so the plane is actually sitting on the ground at or real close to its stall angle, the angle of attack for a stall. And you usually don't come down unless it's a strong wind or something. You don't want to come down on these main wheels on a tail dragger. A lot of people do a three-point contact. They'll want the tail wheel and these two wheels to hit at the same time and the plane angled. Because if you come in and you are landing and you hit your main gear first, your tail's up, the center of gravity's back here, it's going to want to make that tail drop. And when it does, the angle of attack on that wing's going to change and it's going to bounce. They call that a bounce. And balloon up, basically. You want to land it where at the slowest speed that you can. This pretty much the stall speed of the airplane. That way when it touches down, all three wheels hit and you don't have a lot of inertia or energy, because the plane wants to, especially any plane, they'll want to torque to the left. They'll want to fly to the left. There's numerous reasons for that, but one of them is the rotation of the prop. The prop spins in a clockwise direction, and believe it or not, the prop spinning that way, it has more bite over on the right hand side, so it means it's gonna want to make the plane go pull that way. It's going to have a stronger pull, and the plane's going to want to go to your left. And the tail draggers are the same way, and yet they're worse. And if you got some some wind, you actually want the wind to come from the right side of the plane if you got a crosswind, so that it's pushing the tail, because it pushes this more than anything. It and wants to swing the plane around this way, wants to swing it around this way, and so that helps counteract that torque of the prop, the P factor of the prop. And you definitely want to do that with the tail draggers. At any rate, we'll take this thing up here, and we're going to Lambert Airport. We're at Creve Couer, over off of Earth City Expressway. And let's release the brake. Okay. And give it, I'm gonna get her straightened out a little bit here. I'm using the rudder to get it straightened out. Okay, give it some power. We're gonna We should give it 10-degree flaps to take off, so that went too far. I have another, like a cockpit here, a switch, so I can. Alright, that's 10 degrees. We'll leave the mixture pretty much in. If you get out to like Colorado, where the elevation is, a mile high, 5,000, over 5,000, almost 6,000 feet, you usually need to back off on this mixture, because it'll start getting too much fuel. This kind of controls the fuel flow, and you need air for the right mixture, and it will not rev up right because it's kind of bogging and choking on too much fuel. I know in the models, when we tune them on the ground, we can, if I give it full throttle, we usually hold the plane straight up. I'll give it full throttle, and if it just basically flat out dies, that means it's too lean. If it blubbers when I give it full throttle, like blah, 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 that means it's too rich. So I need to lean it out a little bit, because they got the same kind of setup on them, but it's a screw on the carburetor. Okay, so we'll get it up to about 65, and we can rotate, take off. On the ground again, we're controlling it with the rudder. Okay, boy, this one's really rough today. You gotta get up.
Kilo Victor Lima Alpha Automated Weather Observation 2100 Zulu.
That's the time. Zulu's the time in UTC.
Sky condition, clear. Temperature, tree 7C dew point, 10C altimeter, tree 004. Kilo Victor Lima Alpha Automated Weather Observation 2100 Zulu. Wind, 271 at 7.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the wind's coming west, 270 degrees, which is from the west, and it's at 7 knots, so it is a windy day today. Now see, this airport faces north and south, the runway, and the west is 270.
St. Louis approach Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra is type Cessna 152 1 miles south of 1 Hotel 0900 feet.
360, you got 90, 918, 27, so 270. 270 is west.
0137 Cessna X-ray Golf Sierra.
360 or zeros north, 180 south, and the 90 is east.
Roger, Cessna X-ray Golf Sierra.
Okay, so I'm holding back on the wheel right now. Now, if I want to climb
St. Louis
and not have to hold it, that's where I get into this.
Request clearance to transition Bravo airspace.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra.
This is trim wheel.
Cleared through the Bravo airspace.
To
Cleared through Bravo airspace, Cessna
get
X-ray
it
Golf
into
Sierra.
a nice even climb. We're about 800. This will bounce around to settle in. We're up there about almost 2,500 RPMs. Our speed, we're at 70. So when we're climbing, we want to Stay up about 65, 70 knots. So I can lower the nose a little bit. And then I'll help it out to get it to kind of settle in. That little bit of movement made a big difference. So I'll go back a little more. Okay, this means we're climbing. And I'm going to push down to get it to settle in. We're at 500 feet per minute. That's 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. And we've actually turned so much we're going east. Alright, when you look at the, so we're going towards the river. There's the arch, you can see it there. When you look at the altimeter, you always want to look at the small arrow, the small hand first, and the big hand, small hand. Look at this. Look at the small hands first, because that's how many thousand feet you are. And then the larger, the big hand is the hundreds. So like right now, we're at 2,600, approaching 2,700 feet. Now when we took off, we were, St. Louis is around 500, almost 600 feet. It's 500, I'll say 575 feet above sea level. So, so when we were on the runway, this was showing 500. So you have to keep that in mind too, especially when you're landing. These are other planes in the air. This game, Microsoft game. Wait, this isn't a game. This is a simulator. They have live traffic. You can do live weather, live traffic. You can change the weather, change the traffic.
St. Louis Tower Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray
That's
Golf
me.
Sierra is 4 miles southwest, 3,100 feet with Charlie to land.
Charlie's the name of Lambert's control tower. And they'll call me Cessna.
Left traffic runway
X-Ray Golf Cessna. X-Ray Golf Sierra. Or Alpha Sierra, X-Ray Golf Sierra, but usually they'll put Cessna in front of it. Alright. See if the, if we got the, oh, it switched the channel on me. Changed it. I was trying to go to the, what they call, ATIS. ATIS is, they have a recorded message at the airports. They basically give you the time. They say Zulu, and the time it's in military time, and it's actually UTC time. And then they'll tell you that the wind is at like 270 at 7. It's at 7 knots in direction of west 270 on the compass. They'll tell you visibility. Visibility 1 like they gave, that's very good. So you can do VFR flying, visual flight. So like if this plane here, we wouldn't want to get stuck up here in a storm. Because we don't have instruments that will help us out if we can't see the ground and landmarks. And they give what runways are active and you know, other instructions. That's pretty much the gist of it, though. So I talking and not paying attention lost. Okay, we're going now we're actually we're going northwest. So 330, 310, 315 degrees on the compass. It's reversed. The 3-0 is over there and the 3-0 is over here up on the top here. But that's where you want to keep those in sync. I mean, that's normal to be like a mirror image. Okay. Yeah, we're still climbing about 400, 300 feet per minute. We're up pretty high. I mean, not that high, but it's higher. So I'm going to pull back on the throttle a little bit to get the RPMs down off that 2500 there, and letting up on the throttle a little bit will also help out with climbing. When you add power, you'll climb. That's the jets. They actually control elevation a lot of times with power by reducing or increasing power. I mean, they have controls, don't get me wrong, but so we can find a happy medium there, and then we just use our trim, elevator trim wheel to make it more level if we want to fly. It's settling down. So pitch-wise, that's pretty good there. Not bad at all. Pull back a little more on the stick. Oh, I forgot to put the, now we're going to drop, so I'm going to have to retrim it. I forgot to put the flap up. A lot of times I don't take off with the flaps. So you'll see it go down. The flaps give you lift and help slow you down. It gives you drag to slow you down and gives you more lift. I actually want to go down anyway. So we'll I'll move back trim wheel. I got a adjustment here. I can do it myself. move my trim wheel so I go down. Now we don't want to go down too fast because we can go in over speed and stress the plane integrity there. Overstress the plane. Have a wing fall off or something. I hate when that happens. When a plane's coming in for a landing, the ILS systems, they have them come in at a 3-degree descent. So that's kind of the optimum glide slope, the 3 degrees. Our altimeter, you can see it going down. We're approaching 2,600 feet, going to 2,500 feet. I actually don't mind 2,500 feet. I kind of like it. I'm going to pull back the trim wheel a little bit. That wheel there, I pulled it back with my controller. I have a wheel here. As the to control the trim wheel. But I have to push down a little bit. I got to get it to settle in by itself, but I help it because it'll kind of bounce and bounce and bounce, go up, go down, up, down, up, down. Okay, let's see if it got a little bit of turbulence there, but I'll just go back a little more. Hopefully that does the trick. Give it a little more speed. We're only about 2,100 knots. Okay, we'll ask for contact the airport, Lambert, and tell them we want to come in and land or do a touch and go, whatever. I do have different maps and things that I can plot courses and put the VOR settings, waypoints, all that stuff in. There's one here, my little nav map. This is very nice. Ignore the update for now. Okay, as you, it's showing Lambert, but we have to turn on the server so it's connects up. And we're connected, and then
St. Louis Tower, South southwest tree 20611 miles northwest inbound ILS runway 12 left approach.
He's talking to
Southwest tree 2068 Lewis Tower. Altimeter tree 0.02 with 041 at 5. Cleared ILS, runway 12 left approach. Cleared ILS runway 12 left approach, southwest tree 206.
Okay, let's hit this. It brings us up there now. And pop up with me in the middle, but I think we'll zoom out again. Okay, there's St. Louis. See all the planes around the airport. So we're heading north. We're going up towards what's that town up there where they knocked the bridge out? Quincy, yeah. Going up towards Quincy during the flood.
Southwest tree 206 wind 041 at 5. Cleared to land runway 12 left.
That's 12 left. 12, runway 12.
Cleared to land runway 12 left, southwest tree 206.
The runways are labeled by the compass direction. So Lambert, they have 30, which is on the compass 300 degrees. So that was 30. They got 30 left and 30 right. And the opposite of 30, if you're coming the other way, is 12. So they have 12 left and 12 right. So one side of the runway is 30 and the other side is 12 because of the compass direction. I can get rid of this circle if I wanted to. We're flying 103 knots. We're at 2,200 feet. And in the wrong direction. But these are different, these are VORs. I'll show you where they are. So if you want to tune into a VOR frequency, I'd go to that navigation radio and put in 108.6. And when I got within range of that, that needle would move on that VOR. Actually, this one, 108.60. Oh, that's not me. Come down here.
121.65 southwest 3206.
Let's see what this one is. 117.40. Let's see if we can pick that one up. 117.40. Okay. I gotta hold my head steady here. So we'll make this one, well, we'll flip them. and 114 point, was it 70? I think it was. Okay, let's move it over, and we turn on both of them. We go look back and look at it, make sure I get the right. Otherwise, we're just too far from it. 117.40. Okay, so I gotta change that to 40. What? Boy, I got that all off. Dyslexic, huh? 117.40. Yeah, I got that all off. Okay, let's 17 and then 40. Alright, now we'll flip it. There, see it come in? So we're within range. You can also hear these have a Morse code, so you can press that and you'll hear the Morse code. Turn that off. Alright, so we dial this OBS. We're going from, you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but it says from, so that means we're going away from it. So we use this OBS until we get it to go. It'll be going south, basically. Or no, yeah, south. It should be going south. Yeah. And then it'll say 2. Okay, see, it changed to 2. And now we dial it in. Okay. So here's the degrees we want to fly to get them. We want to go up. The south is 180 to 150, 160, about 165. So we want to turn till we get to 165. And try and stay within a 30 degree bank. And if you need to pull back on the stick a little bit to keep the nose of the plane to kind of just slice across the sky. You don't want it dropping or climbing. Slice across the horizon. Alright, so we're looking for 165. Okay, we're right there. Alright, so now we're going 165 is our heading. Just moved a little bit so we can bring it back in to fine tune it. Oh, we got 150, 165. It's more like 168. Change that there. Okay, and we're actually going towards that signal. down 200 feet. Now we're leveling out. We're at 2,000 feet. Now if I turn this off, they're going to yell at me. Say, much. Gonna make a liar out of me? Yeah, naturally. They're making a liar out of me. They get mad at me. Here's the ATIS. That's the channel for the recorded message, and this is the information. Actually, visibility 10 is good. If it's lower, it's harder to see. Altimeter is 3004, which is unusual. Now that's the setting here for the barometric pressure. It's usually 29 or 0.9 or 2, and it's hard to tell on this thing where it's at. 29 or 0.9, and they said it's here, well, let's see what it says. You'll hear the recording if it's on. Why is it? Uh, 125. There it goes. Wait a minute. ATIS. There it is. It keeps going back. Why is it going back? 125. And well, 02. Okay, right there. Oh, switched. Damn it.
Airport information, Charlie 2200 Zulu. Wind 0 tree 1 at 7.
2200 UTC wind.
Sky condition, clear. Temperature, tree 4.
31 degrees.
10.
It's 7 miles. Visibility 10. Clear.
ILS runway 11, ILS
Temperature
runway 12
Celsius.
left and ILS runway 12 right in use. Landing and departing runway 11, runway 12 left and runway 12 right. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All
There's
aircraft read back home short instructions.
30.02.
Advise controller on initial contact. You have Charlie.
And so this should be changed to 30.02. You know what I said? That's really because of the weather, it's really changed. Altimeter, barometric pressure 30 point. It changes your altitude. So you could be off if it's not set right.
St. Louis Airport information, Delta 2200 Zulu. Wind 0 tree 1 at 7. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature tree 4. Dew point 10. Altimeter tree 0.02. ILS runway 11 ILS runway 12 left ILS runway 12 right in use.
Okay.
Landing
Yeah,
and departing
I went too
runway
far.
11 runway 12 left and runway 12 right. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions.
You see how that
Controller on
changed?
initial contact, you have Delta.
Alright. These are the runways they're using. 12 left, 12 right. They got ILS. That's the instrument landing system. They have, I gotta get this back in here. We're off course. Okay. Alright, we gotta go up 150. We're going pretty good, actually. We're not that far off. But a little bit can mean a whole lot in a long way. Anyway, oh, come on. So the ILS, the runway, like this is the runway. I will say this is the runway. And at the end of the runway, they'll have the ILS. And the ILS puts out a frequency on one. It divides the runway in half, and on one half it's going to put out like a 90 hertz frequency, and on the other half it's going to put out, I think it's 150 hertz. And then the ILS on the plane that interprets it, it knows by what side signal is stronger or weaker, that it's not centered or to the left of the runway, to the right of the runway. And then when it gets centered, it knows that two frequencies are even signal. You got 90 and 150 hertz, and they're both equal, so it knows you're on the center of the runway, lined up with the center. Now, for the your altitude, for your glide slope, and that, at the end of the runway, they have an ILS, but it's vertical. But it does the same thing, same principle. It throws a 90 hertz frequency and 150 hertz, and then between those two, it can tell your altitude and your rate of descent, and help guide you with that glide slope. Let's see what we're doing here. ILS, that system's been around a long time. They still use it, but there's other systems too. If you're coming in on a instrument landing and the airport's kind of, visibility is really poor, and you're dropping out of the clouds, I think it's 200 feet for GA, which is General Aircraft, you got a decision to make if you can land. If you can see the runway and you're going to be able to land, you can go ahead. If not, then you need to go around. Toga, they call it toga. Take off, go around. These are other planes, Southwest 3206. They told them the wind was at 041, which that's kind of northeast, more north. At 5 knots. Cleared land on runway 12 left. And again, the 12 runway is going 120 degrees on the compass. So we're actually going 120 degrees right now. Alright, now it's moved on us again. Let's see which way. I think this way. Brings it in. No, it must be the other way. We're not that far off. Are we? Nope, there it is. Okay. Alright. Alright. So south 180. So we want to get going southerly. Okay, 200, almost 210. It is 210 there. Alright, straighten out. So we're flying towards that VOR or waypoint. Okay, we can tune into, let's see, I can ask them for airport directions. They'll tell me. That's always nice.
St. Louis Tower Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra is unfamiliar with the area. Request directions to the airport.
Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra Airport is 9 o'clock 10 miles.
So we're 10 miles out, 9 o'clock, so we gotta go that way. See that marker that we were going towards wasn't right at the airport. So, in case you're wondering about that. Okay, let's see what it says. Request
St. Louis Tower Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra is unfamiliar with the area. Request directions to the airport.
Cessna Cessna X-ray Golf Sierra Airport is 12 o'clock 9 miles.
Okay, so 12 o'clock, so we're going the right way now. And it's 9 miles away. So let's see if I see a runway there, but I don't know. It's probably the airport. You never know. Do I know what runway I'm landing on? We're gonna go ahead and do a full stop landing. We'll stay here. I think I'm landing 12. I think I already set that up earlier. Somewhere. Let's see. There's a squawk code that you put in down here.
Golf Sierra, wind 031 at 7. Cleared to land runway 12 left.
Okay, yeah, 12 left, okay.
Cleared to land runway 12 left, Cessna X-ray Golf Sierra.
Alright, so we can put on our approach flaps here. We don't have gear to drop, so I don't have that to forget. Alright, remember what I told you? You've got the runway 12. Means that it's running 120 degrees. So the runway is going to be running that way. And they said 12 left. A little under 80 knots. Backing off on the throttle a little more. Go ahead and put the flaps down. Well, I'll just get the nose down a little bit. But I will put the flap down one more time. I gotta hold the nose down a little bit when I lower the flaps or it balloons up on me. Most airport, most crashes are on landing, and going too fast. So you want to want to get down to the right, landing. Altitude and the right speed. You don't want to come in too hot. That's where people get hurt. Alright, this is 12 left. You can see over there the 12R. That's 12 right. Okay, now those lights were at 1,000 feet, and remember we're about 600, so we're about 400 feet from the ground. Those lights there on the right,
St. Louis Tower exit jet 63612
those
miles
are
west inbound ILS runway 12 left approach.
those are peppy lights.
6 St. Louis Tower.
You want 2 red and 2 white. There's 1 red.
St. Louis Tower Southwest tree 555.
There's 2 red. That's good. That means we're at the right height. If you got more white, you're too high. If you got more red, you're too low.
Altimeter tree 0.03 wind calm clear.
Alright.
Runway 12
And
left
we'll
approach.
just flare a little bit here.
Cleared ILS runway 12 left approach. Southwest tree 555.
And let the nose down, and there we go.
Cessna X-ray Golf Sierra exit runway when able.
Well,
Cleared
actually,
ILS runway 12 left approach exit jet 636.
Cessna X-ray Golf Sierra contact ground on 121.075.
Okay.
121.075 Cessna X-ray Golf Sierra.
Oh, they contacted them for me. Okay. You're supposed to basically not go very fast at all. Almost walking speed.
Southwest tree 55. 5 wind calm clear to land runway
A
12
little bit of
left.
lightning there. Okay.
Clear to land runway 12 left southwest tree 555.
There's my guy. He's gonna guide me in. Tell me to go left or right. Okay, he wants me to go right, left a little bit. Come on now, why you want me to go left? I'm gonna run into this guy. Okay. There we go. Parking brake on. Switch off. We did it. It was a success. Pretty cool. Mhm. 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 Mhm.